Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll be beginning shortly. Hi, thanks everyone for joining the session. We'll just be beginning shortly. Thank you. So thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll be beginning in a couple of minutes. While we do, I'll just play a short video about HCL TechBee while others join.
Imagine an opportunity to work with HCL Technologies right after class 12. Join HCL TechBee, a 12-month work-integrated learning program that gives an opportunity to work with HCL Technologies while pursuing a graduation degree from India's best technical institutions. Register today at HCLTechBee.com to enroll for HCL CAT test or give us a call on 844-8.
So thank you and welcome. I see there's enough of us here today, so we'll just begin for the session. So good evening. We welcome you to Volume 3 of the TechBee webinar series, where we tell you all about the HCL TechBee program, which is for an early career opportunity with HCL Technologies right after class 12. Our guest today is Mr. Shiva Prasad. He's the Global Operations Director with HCL Technologies. Shiva comes with diverse experience of approximately 20 years across the technology spectrum. He's a seasoned professional with extensive experience in software service delivery, proven ability in technical architecture design, as well as product and program management. Shiva has worked on .NET-based application development and cloud technologies, delivering projects for global players like Google and Yahoo. He also comes with a rich experience in sectors like insurance, banking, and automotives. So without further ado, we welcome you, Shiva. We look forward to speaking with you and getting insights about the TechBee program from you.
Thank you, Sanat, for that introduction. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Sanat. Yes, look forward to having a great conversation, Sanat.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for joining us. So let us begin by talking a little bit about you. While I did briefly introduce you, but I want to just know from you, just right off the bat, what brought you into the world of technology? What made you want to pursue a career in tech? Was it pure instinct? Was it passion? Perhaps maybe peer pressure that you saw other friends doing it, or something else?
Yes, a bit of all together, Sanat. Yes, but majorly it was passion, right? Majorly it was passion, and somewhere right from beginning, right from childhood, I always had this connect with technology. I was always going and then messing up a lot of electronics things, a lot of digital stuff myself, trying to understand how it works, right? So I connected myself very well with technology, where I had an opportunity to do the same thing using a computer, right? Understand, do it better. So that was one of the things that brought me to the technology world. Basically, the time when I got into the software industry, the technology industry, that time it was just booming, it just coming up. We didn't know where it will land up to. There was always this negativity that, we still need manual processes. The computers will not really, the technology will not last longer. You still need a lot of people who need to do manual jobs. But somewhere me, along with, of course, my peers, my friends, we've always had this right passion of getting into understanding what it is, right? In fact, I'll just tell you a simple example, right? When there's a movie, we used to go to a movie and we used to see the complete, the titles scrolling up, down. They say, how do they do it? It started from there. Oh, it's coming up, going down, or, sometimes a flash comes in. So we used to understand, how do we do it? In case if we need to do it, what do we do to understand this? It started from there, And all of us together, in fact, me along with my friends and then all my college friends, school friends, we all decided that we'll pursue a complete career in technology. That's how I started. It really worked out very well. While we started with some basic Microsoft technologies, I've had great opportunity to work in various technology areas. I'm sure some of these are still there. A lot of these are still there, and that's how I'm still current with technology because the basics that I've had were very strong, Sanat.
Yeah, certainly. And I do kind of have this opinion that perhaps your generation was really one that introduced, us to technology and really took it forward in India. Because before that, I guess there was not enough exposure, and all these questions that you said you had in your mind, you really, I mean, of course, have explored and done so much more with it. So yeah, I want to now
Yeah,
know from you. Sorry,
one
please go
thing.
ahead.
Yeah, when you said your generation, you're making me old, look as if older, but I'm not as older. But yes, of course, I am surely a little older than you, and I've seen all these things. Sanat, yes, absolutely. That was the beginning. We've had a lot of opportunity to explore a lot of things. Right from currently what we see is front end developer, UI developer, back end developer, middleware developer. All these are separated. When I was doing coding myself, I've not had front end developer separately, middleware developer, and a back end developer. I was doing all by myself. Even if I had to design something, I was a designer myself, UX designer myself, along with back end designing as well. Yes,
And in fact,
while
that's something I noticed in your resume. In fact, the fact that you had written in, I mean, it was written in places that there is both front end and back end. And for a second, I was, a little bit stumped that, okay, is this a special feat? Because I don't see this so much. But yeah, let's talk about, how you, started at HCL. How did you get this opportunity? And, tell us about your journey with HCL, please.
all right. So yes, I was working in Australia. I was in Australia before joining HCL, and I was looking at coming back to India. I've had opportunities. I belong to Hyderabad. I belong to Hyderabad. I belong to Andhra Pradesh area. So when I was looking at coming back to Hyderabad, I had opportunities with multiple MNCs, product-based companies, to work in Hyderabad itself. Along with that, I had the opportunity with HCL. So I was coming from Australia. The background, the expectations were a little higher. My expectations were a little higher. I was expecting good quality work, good career to settle down in India. That was my longer-term career that I've had in plan. When I saw the opportunities that I had in Hyderabad, I mean, first option that anybody would choose, of course, everybody will choose it. Yeah, I'll stay close to home, right? I'll stay close to home. I'll stay with parents. I was not married, so I'll stay with parents, and I'll have some lot of savings because you don't need to pay rent, you don't need to do anything. But what I did, I mean, which is a strange story, but my friends used to tease me. But what I did is, leaving all the opportunities in Hyderabad, coming directly from Sydney, I went to Noida, HCL, joined HCL in Noida. A lot of my friends said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And now when they come and say, talk to me, they say, you were right. This was 2004 when I joined HCL in Noida. The opportunity to learn was so great. I joined as a senior engineer, like any, all of us, most of us, we joined at a junior level. I also joined at that junior level as a senior engineer. From there, I moved on to become a technical lead, a project manager, program manager, then a people manager, getting into HR roles, getting into training roles. I managed a training academy head, a delivery head, a domain expert in finance, and many others, right? And a practice head as well. I don't think any company would have given me this kind of an opportunity to get into various roles in this 16 years. My growth was phenomenal. And while I chose Noida as my career, the opportunity to learn the local culture. I've not been to. I mean, I've been to Delhi in the past before I chose Noida as my office destination. But what made me learn was the local culture. Right, you have opportunity to make new friends. You have opportunity to understand how the other side of the world works. You always were in a comfort zone, living at home, living in your own. Idli sambar kind of a thing at home for breakfast, going to parathas and everything. It was absolutely amazing experience. Right from breakfast till the dinner, your entire day used to be pretty hectic. What we see in day-to-day life here is completely different from the day-to-day life that we've had there. So the opportunity to explore the world was many, and I've had some great friends that I made. And from an office perspective, as I mentioned, you mentioned in the beginning the technologies that I was able to learn. I started with .NET. You saw, right? When I joined HCL, I started with .NET, but it did not stop there. It came back. I got into Java. I got into PHP. I got into Python, and I got into Linux, Unix world. And I also learned so many other program management, project management stuff. Angular, React. People now say, I'm an Angular developer. But if you ask me, I'm a developer in all those things long
All
back.
across the spectrum.
All
Yeah.
Angular was coming and React was just coming. I've had exposure to all these things right in the beginning itself. So
So,
that's the
so
great.
Shiva, would you say, I'm just going to jump into my next question because I think you're kind of already answering it. But would you say that this is what stands, or this is what stood out for you about having a career at HCL? The fact that you could have width and depth in terms of the kind of knowledge you were gaining, with the technologies that you were learning as well. Or would you say
Absolutely.
it was a mix of everything that you've said?
No,
Having the kind of colleagues you have. Yeah.
I think the one that stands out completely, Sanat, is surely the technology experience, right? So when we go talk to the customers, when we go talk to anybody outside, what they understand from you is how much of a depth and breadth that you have in your technology world. We are working in a completely a services based organization at the moment.
Yes.
I come from a product based insurance company when I was working in Australia. What we had in my Australian company where I was working in was a very limited exposure, very, very limited exposure, because it was a product, insurance product that I was working on, and the
Sure.
domain, everything was very limited. One technology, one limited domain. What I saw in HCL was completely a huge spectrum, completely a big spectrum of learning that I've had. I remember the day I joined. In fact, I had my parents as well when I joined Noida. So I said, okay, possibly I'll be able to come back home by about 8:30, 9 o'clock, because I started at about 9 o'clock in the morning work. Then they were waiting for me, and it was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock within the first few days. And it is not that somebody forced me to stay in office. I was like so keen in learning, and it gave me so great opportunity right from designing. I've had not much of exposure to software designing when I was in Australia, but what I learned here in HCL was the designing. So that was the seed, and I used every opportunity. The company gave me every opportunity. I used that opportunity to completely learn everything within first few years. It was a great learning. And now that yes, I've started in Noida. It did not stop there. When I had to go to the US, then again come back, Singapore, multiple countries. The exposure in multinational experience. While I've had my experience in Australia for about 4.5 years, but this also was great experience because it's a completely different geo. Within India, it is a different area, northern India,
Sure.
and from there going to the US and going to the other side, it was a great experience. I don't think, Sanad, honestly speaking, I don't think I would have got this experience anywhere else. It's a very honest view that I've had, that I'm sure no other company can give one single person so many opportunities in different roles and different technologies.
Would you
HCL
say
had.
you built your career perhaps at HCL itself in terms of seeing that transition from where you were to where you are?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Yes, that's how HCL gave me an opportunity. I'm sure this is thanks to the career options that we have in HCL and flexibility that HCL provides with respect to choosing the right career options. Right? See, usually what people have, a lot of juniors that in today's world, what they have is they have this mindset that, hey, I'm a Java developer, so I'll continue to be a Java developer, or I'll continue to be a Java architect. But when you are a Java architect or a Java developer or a .NET developer or .NET architect, at a level, when you are an architect, you are supposed to be completely understanding the view of all the technologies to propose a solution, right? Being a Java developer, being a .NET developer doesn't work. So that always helped me, that I've had exposure to all these things. That surely stands out, Sanat, for sure.
Sure, sure. Thanks. I perhaps mentioned in my introduction that you are also the center head for HCL Vijayawada. So could you please tell our viewers, what kind of technologies are being worked on in HCL Vijayawada? What kind of scope there is for growth there for someone who enrolls for TechBee as well. Please.
Sure. So HCL Vijayawada, we've started in last year, February, we've started it. This is one of the fastest, not one of the fastest growing centers across any HCL facility. We've had our 1,000 plus people in last September. We've just completed our 2000 plus people milestone. And now we are about 2050 people in HCL Vijayawada. HCL Technologies Vijayawada is about 2050 people. That's a great achievement for us. And it is all possible because there is enough talent available locally. And what kind of opportunities that people have, the reason why people are joining, why there are so many people joining is because of the opportunities. Right from engineering to digital to the product and platforms and to the infrastructure services. You name a technology, we have it in Vijayawada. Vijayawada is actually a center of complete product and platform development as well as digital technologies, digital and engineering technologies hub for HCL Technologies. For example, I mean, to name a few technologies that we are working on, skills that we are working on at Vijayawada. Number one is Java, full stack Java. A lot of people, they are aware, right? The Java, what is happening with Java? So we are working on Java, full stack Java, microservices. These are the few with respect to the Java areas. Then we have Angular React, the front end development that I was talking about. Angular React. And on the data engineering, we have so many opportunities with respect to data engineering in Hadoop, Spark, Hive, all this that people see, people would have heard on what happens on data engineering. We do that. We also have some projects coming up, and we are working on AI and ML areas as well, artificial intelligence and ML as well. Apart from that, the network skills, a lot of network, 4G mobility. Now everything, for everybody who has a phone, they see what is 4G, but what happens behind the scenes, how the technology, how the protocol development, how the connections happen, all that we do in Vijayawada. The protocol development, the L3 protocol development, mobility, all that we completely work on those in Vijayawada.
And is it fair to say the freshers who come in, the TechBee batches who come in, they have exposure to these as well?
Absolutely.
They get to work across the board.
Absolutely. See, I mean, I wouldn't compare with other organizations, but what usually people learn during their first careers, initial, first 2 years of careers is very basic stuff. And they usually spend a lot of time doing very mundane, very basic jobs. But here they have an opportunity to learn high-end technologies, as Vijayawada is the center for high-end technologies. So it's an opportunity for anybody who's looking at getting into faster career. This is a great opportunity. Digital skills, right? If you go anywhere, even if you watch TV now with the OTT platform, the requirement in the media and entertainment industry for digital skills has become multifold. There's huge number of opportunities in media and entertainment industry. Similarly, everything with the IoT and smart devices that we have, right from Alexa, right from the smart bulbs that we have at home, or any device, smart TVs, smart fridges, that requires us to understand what happens with data, right? There is a lot of data that gets stored, the processing of the data, that is all being done by us, using this platform. So people who are getting recruited, even including TechBees, we do not differentiate whether it is a TechBee or whether it is an employee. Once a person joins HCL, once they complete training, they are treated equally like any other engineer or any other employee that we have. So at HCL Vijayawada, we for sure ensure that this is the priority, and I've seen people enjoying the way they're doing their jobs. So that's a great opportunity. Yes, Sanat, it's a great opportunity for TechBees, because usually getting this kind of exposure in at the age of 18 is very difficult for people.
Certainly. So with that, since we're on talking about TechBee, let's jump right into it. Let's could you please tell our viewers a little bit about the program in your own way?
All right, TechBee is an early career program. It's a good early career program for people who've just completed their +2 or intermediate in Andhra Pradesh. I know there are a lot of people, smart guys we have in here. A lot of talent that goes to the software industry in India and abroad comes from this area, right? Andhra Pradesh, Telangana area. There is a lot of people who are keen in getting into the technology world. So for you, all of you guys, my message is it's a great career option, early career option for you, because at the age of 18, you are completely financially independent. You will be able to choose your career. You'll be able to stand on your own feet financially and manage your career well. If at all, if you're choosing a regular traditional BTech degree or a B engineering degrees, any other engineering or traditional degrees that you are looking at, you are about 4 years away thinking about your career. You don't know, uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty that they have when they see, yes, I have to get into a career, I have to complete my studies, and what you learn there, we don't know. A lot of theoretical stuff happens. I'm sure all of you are aware, most of you are aware, that what we learn in college is completely theoretical. Application of that knowledge is not happening in the colleges, many colleges. Whereas in here, HCL, during the first year, what you learn is completely hands-on the job training happens. First initial 6 months you learn a lot of concepts, again they're with application, and then the later part of that 6 months more, you'll actually get into the projects. So to tell you quickly, you will be working on a customer project within 6 months of joining HCL, and you'll be treated equally like any other employee of HCL. So that's a great opportunity that people have. The within 6 months, at an early age, early career, if you are seeing this kind of an option, think of yourself after 4 years. After 4 years, when your friends, your other people who are still going through their BTech degree, you already have 4 years of experience. That isn't it great? And that 4 years of experience is not theoretical experience. You have hands-on completely. You know how to talk to the customers. You know how to behave. You know your professional etiquettes that you are already learned. Whereas your friends are still in college mode. So that's a great edge that you have when you join HCL TechBee program. I don't think there is any equal competition that we have for this program in the market. And the learning, apart from what we see with respect to the learning, I'm sure people may ask me a question saying, what, I've just completed 12th. What happens to my degree? It's very important. It's very valid. Yes, we do understand. We do understand. HCL did understand all that. So what we have is, during your experience, there is a work integrated learning program that we have, and the partnership that we have is not with a smaller university. We have two prestigious universities tied up with HCL. One, BITS Pilani. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to getting into BITS Pilani after their 12th. You don't need to really worry about anything when you join HCL. During your after completing the first year of your HCL TechBee here, you will be eligible to get into the BITS Pilani. Their degree is BSc in design computing. It's a great degree that you can have. Having a BITS Pilani in your resume itself is pretty prestigious. In case if you opt to see that you want to go get into a career in a different route, we also have an option to go through Shastra University. Shastra University offers us another degree, BCA degree. You can complete BCA and then MCA after completing the BCA. So both degrees are pretty prestigious and valid. So in my view, an opportunity, early career opportunity, financial independence is something that is for a great thing that people have, which we did not have when we were in our college, when we were in our 12th. We didn't have this kind of an opportunity.
And of course, could you tell us a little bit about how TechBee was actually came to life, how it was really envisioned?
Okay, yeah, TechBee was a brainchild of Mr. Nadar, who's the founder, chairman of HCL Technologies, current managing director. It was a brainchild. So he envisioned at that point of a time that we have a lot of talent that we have, where the time that is being spent for completing the degrees post intermediate is not really worth the time that we are spending. 4 years of time. See, previous traditional engineering degrees were different. When we look at computer science engineering and people who are getting into software industry, what we see is we see a lot of people wasting about 4 years of their precious time. The minds are fresh after their 12th. They have eagerness to learn, zeal to learn during that age, age of 17, between 17 to 21, you're still in the learning age. Especially, I mean, I'll talk about people from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, where I'm really surprised a lot of people get 90 plus percent marks in their plus two or intermediate, right? We see that 90 plus. So meaning the zeal of learning is still very active. So we want to capitalize on that capability of people, that learning ability of people, utilize it in the right direction, in the right way, put into practice at the right time, and make use of the smartness at the early age, and at the same time giving a great career to people, right? See, you saw that within the first year they are employees of HCL, right? They are already employees of HCL after completing their degree, their first year of internship, the classroom training and internship. They are employees of HCL and they have the opportunity. So this for sure, Mr. Nader has always thought about it right in the beginning and envisioned that it is going to be a great option for by picking up people at the early age when they are still fresh in their minds, do not have any other obligations, other thoughts in their mind. So it surely worked out. We've got a lot of people completing it already, Sanath.
Yes, certainly. Certainly. So thanks for sharing that. Now, my next question is, about how does it work? So everyone who undergoes the training, do they get a job with HCL? Anyone who enrolls for TechBee?
No, not necessarily. This is a good prestigious program. Yes, people, those who first enroll, they have a registration thing that they need to do. They have to complete an assessment, HCL CAT assessment that they need to complete, a common admission test that they need to complete. Once they clear the admission test, then they'll be allowed. There'll be a conversation. They need to have a interaction with one of our HCL counselors who will have a discussion with the aspirants, the scholars. Once we find that there is enough zeal, enough capability in the scholar, we will be taking them as our tech B, one of the tech Bs. So during that initial 1 year of period, which is the training period, first 3 to 6 months is usually the classroom training, depending on which track, which stream, which technology that they are getting into. It is about 3 to 6 months. So during that, there is a regular assessments. People will have to clear those assessments and then go to the next step. So it's going to be a good challenging journey for people who have got 90+% marks in their +2 or intermediate. For sure, it's a great cakewalk because it's not just that they're learning theory. What they are doing, what they'll be learning in HCL Tech is something which is challenging, something that they'll really enthuse them to do a great job every day. Every day there are quizzes. There are multiple quizzes that people will understand. It's not going to be the same thing today, tomorrow, day after. It's going to be a different. Today you have a quiz, then there is a different quiz the day after, and there'll be something else, and then there'll be a cumulative assessment put together. So the learning is more practical. You don't need to buy hard. You don't need to remember things. You need to just do things directly on the environment. Everybody gets their own laptop to practice on. Not that you're just teaching them, asking them to read a big book and go do it. No, they get the laptop and they practice directly on their laptop desktop. At their currently, the learning mode is online because of pandemic. But yes, once the pandemic eases out, possibly there is, these guys may come back to office. But at the moment, it's all completely online learning.
Sure, sure. So thanks for that. So you're saying that after going through the selection process, once you've cleared the training program, the full of it, that's when you kind of enter HCL into that full-time job role as well. And so you have to clear those assessments along the way for that. Correct. Great.
That's
So,
right.
so how many students so far have completed, the TechBee program so far since its inception?
About 3,000 plus students have already completed. They are already our employees. 3,000 plus students have completed by now. Almost more than 3,000, just over 3,000 people have already completed, and they are in various roles. Right? They are not just completed and waiting. They are in various roles. A lot of them they are working in Vijayawada as well. A lot of them are working in Vijayawada, working in roles such as engineering roles. Right? You may be expecting that, hey, how come the tech bees are engineering roles? Are we not expecting a person to be a certified engineer? No, not required. Basically, what we need is the practical learning. We have put them, a lot of them, into data engineering roles. We have put them into digital skill roles, digital skills such as your front end skills, the back end skills, the Java, full stack Java, all the digital technologies. We have put them into digital technologies. Some of these people are in high-end infrastructure services. These days, you have seen, right? Infrastructure is no more a physical infrastructure. It's all virtual infrastructure. A lot of it is virtual infrastructure where most of it is cloud. So when you're working in infrastructure division of ours, you're not working in a physical infrastructure or a server maintenance. You're working on high-end virtual server maintenance, meaning you'll have to ensure that servers are configured, clouds are configured. It's a great knowledge, cloud server configuration and managing the Azure, managing the AWS. It's not easy job for anybody, but our TechBees are doing it. Our TechBees are able to manage this with ease. In fact, some of these things I'm really proud to say I'm sure Mr. Nader would have thought about it very well ahead of time. The learning ability of these young kids at 17, 18 in their age, amazingly great, much better than the people who come from colleges. So that's where the opportunities, whenever we give them an opportunity, sometimes we start to see, oh, it's a complex thing, but they make it very easy. Some of these solutions that, when we ask them to provide solutions for some complex problems, very complex problems, the solutions first come from TechBees, not the experienced people. That's a great, great thing that we have seen. That's where we are, in fact, HCL is going all over to get more and more TechBees. Yes, those who are interested, those who have the right skills to join TechBee program, we are taking those kind of a people. But yes, at the moment, it's about 3,000 plus people strong organization of
Sure.
TechBees within HCL.
So could you briefly touch upon what exactly HCL is looking for in a potential TechBee scholar?
Okay.
Of course, barring
So,
visibility, maybe from what kind of person perhaps they are, what kind of learnability they have, etc.
all right. So basically, anybody who has the right learning ability, that's what we are looking at, right? Nothing else apart from right learning ability. What you need is, if you have done well in your school, college, if you have the right attitude, right aptitude. I know, while we test the aptitude skills, and we also test basic English and some bit of skills in general awareness skills that we test. General awareness, nothing much. General awareness skills that we look at. But apart from these skills, if the people have the right learning ability, that's what we look at. If we see the kind of people that we get, right? That kind of people that we get, especially I'll always focus on AP and TS region. So the AP and Telangana region, the kind of people that we get, amazingly great talent that we have. As I mentioned in my your previous question as well, Sanath, that the talent that goes all over the world, including anywhere, Bangalore, Chennai, or even to the US, Australia, Singapore, wherever you go, you see the talent that comes from Andhra Pradesh. So these guys have the right ability because they have the zeal to learn. With people, a lot of people getting 85, 90% in their schools, it is just that right aptitude is what we are looking at. The communication, yes, a lot of people coming from rural background, they're a bit scared, right? A lot of us, we did not have great English, right? Of course, all of us, our mother tongues are not English, so we always, some people have a little stronger influence of mother tongue I mean MTI, mother tongue influence. Then some of the people, some of the others, have pretty good. Those who come from urban areas, they have good English, but English is not the only criteria that we look at. Yes, basic understanding of English is good, but while you learn in your TechBee, as part of your TechBee program, we teach them how to behave. See, one is communication, the verbal communication and the written communication. Both are taught during this program. The TechBee program teaches our students on the verbal as well as written communication. These two are very important. Whereas in college, right, what we have seen in the colleges, what they do is the culture which is very informal. I'm sure some of the kids that you speak to in your day-to-day world, the language is very informal, not professional. Whereas they join HCL, they learn professional language, professional communication, both verbal and written. Apart from this, there is other bigger aspects that a lot of people forget. The other bigger aspect is for sure behavioral etiquettes, behavioral communication. I mean, behavior, softer skills, the way you talk to the other person, what kind of a behavior that you need to have, what kind of etiquettes that you need to have. These are the few things that we surely need to have with respect to our skills, general soft skills. So this is something which for sure has been one of the key areas that we look at, where if you have right learning ability, that is good enough. Rest all leave to HCL. HCL will take care of remaining skills. Yes, of course, there are a few things which are very, very important with respect to learning. You just concentrate, spend your time, and be regular to your classes. We will take care of everything else. It's just
Sure.
that general learning ability is what we need, nothing else. I'm sure
Sure.
the kids are so smarter, much smarter than you and I, Sanath, for sure.
Yeah, certainly the kind of exposure that you have today, even in school, I'm sure they bring a lot more to the table at the age of 18 than perhaps what we did in our time. Yeah,
And
doubt.
I'll also add one other thing. When this pandemic hit us, a lot of schools and colleges, they thought how they'll be able to manage the entire online learning. But the adaptation that the kids had, which was much better than some of the senior people. I can strongly tell you that the adaptation, the quicker learning ability that these kids had, the school kids and the college kids had, was much better than some of the senior folks. I've seen some of the people who were into big professionals. They were pretty seniors in their own industry areas, but they did not really adapt that quickly. These kids, within 2-3 days, they adapted. So that's what exactly we are trying to catch in these young intermediate +2 folks.
It's a digital first world now, so that's the edge that the new generation will always bring in for sure.
Yes.
And with that, I feel older as well. But moving forward, so you spoke about the kind of development we do of individuals, of soft skills, and of course your technical skills. So could you talk a little bit about the learning resources that we kind of provide, the learning management system, and how they can access this to kind of pass this course with flying colors.
Okay. Are you able to hear me, Sanat, everybody?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So yes, so the learning, there is, during the initial classroom, there are various streams that these guys get into, right? Once the TechBee is selected as part of the program, we have various roles that we are identifying these people for. So the roles, as I mentioned in my previous answer, the roles vary based on the law or line of business that these people are aligned to. For example, if somebody is aligned to engineering services, engineering and R&D services, ERS we call, they will have more learning with respect to mobility. They'll have more learning with respect to protocols. The entire curricula is designed based on the project or the accounts that they are aligned to. For example, as I said, engineering, if they'll be aligned more into these areas, they'll be learning more about protocol development, 4G, in some cases 4G, LTE that we talk about, we see on the phone, you will be able to learn as part of your curriculum. So the first 3 months will be completely a classroom based and practical based training, CRT, which is online at the moment, CRT, where they'll be given a laptop, online learning happens, everything that they learn will be tested every day. So you have to do the coding. The kids, the tech bees are supposed to be doing the coding. Then the code will be assessed and they'll be given the feedback immediately. So that's the first 3 months of the training, where the curricula is divided based on the project that they get selected into. So as I said, engineering, there are various engineering roles that these guys get into. Similarly, if they are part of a data engineering role, so they'll be given training on data, how the data is done, how the databases are worked out, and how the data engineering, the open databases, the big data that we talk about, they are given training on those big data. If they are part of the digital businesses, digital skills, they are given training on Java, the basic front end development, core Java, then the backend, the middlewares, the Angular, the microservices, everything. I mean, you name a few skills, those are there as part of Vijayawada. So the entire learning journey is comprehensive for them. The resources is cloud-based. We have a cloud-based environment available for people to learn, where they just don't need to install anything. They just need to take the HCL laptop or a desktop, start practicing. The environment is available for them to do. So a lot of times the perception is, oh, you know what, I may need to take this, I may need to get into something else myself, where I may not know. Nothing. The laptop has all the environment readily available for them. They just need to log in as an HCL employee and start learning. So the resources, infrastructure, everything is provided by HCL.
Yes, and of course, everything's available online for to access right at the tip of the hat whenever they need to, 24 hours. Great. So you've already touched upon the program duration. You've pretty much I think given us an entire download of what exactly TechBee encompasses. Could you briefly touch upon the fee for the program and the financial assistance that is available?
Okay, so yeah, the program fee, there are two different tracks for which the program fee is designed. One is IT skills, the general IT engineering roles and the digital roles that we have. For that, it is 2 lakhs plus taxes for those digital and other roles. And the associate roles where we don't need the full-fledged technology, it is 1 lakh plus taxes. And this the scholarships are available for those people who are doing really very good, those who get 90+%. There are scholarships available where some of the program fee is also refunded. So the program fee, financial assistance, from a financial assistance perspective, the overall entire program fees is also supported, partnered through a bank. So the banks provide the loans for paying this fee. The individuals do not need to worry about paying the fee. We have HCL has partnered with some of these banks who to provide the financial assistance to the individuals. So that is already taken care of. But it is for sure the individual will feel very independent once they join the program, because they don't need to really spend a lot of time, money or time in getting the financial assistance from the bank. The banks are already aware of HCL TechBee program. They know that HCL is sponsoring these things entirely. So they are aware. And the assistance is pretty easy for the individual to take from the financial institutions.
Sure. Sure. Thank you for sharing those details, Shiva. Now, I just want to talk about, since we have a lot more people who've joined since when we talked about this, could you touch upon the career trajectory of, a TechBee scholar, someone who enrolls in the program? Perhaps if you could take us through a day in the life of a scholar, what it would look like, say, in the classroom, in those during that time, after that during on-the-job training, which we refer to as OJT, and beyond.
Sure. Okay, so assume that one person who joins in CRT completes the TechBee assessment and then joins the program. The first few months, 3 months, where they go through a classroom training online, where there will be multiple classes. There will be behavioral learning. There will be communication, soft skill learning, communication, verbal and written communication learning. Then there will be a technology learning. So there will be a trainer online. While it is online, there will be a trainer. There will be an expert SME who will come over and explain the concepts to all these tech bees on minimum. It's about close to 9 hours of time that they spend, 9.5 hours of time that they spend every day in learning this. Post learning all this, there are exercises that are given to people to practice and come back the next day. There are quizzes based on this learning. So it's an intensive learning program, not that's something which is very light that we take. It's an intensive learning program during the first 3 months, where it's a complete schedule is given to the individuals on what they will be doing, when they'll be going through the assessment, what class will start at what time. Everything goes through the Microsoft Teams. For now, it is all Microsoft Teams, and then the online cloud learning, cloud-based learning. So it is going to be a good, exciting, challenging thing for the individual, for the tech bees to learn during the first 3 months. It's about 9 between various aspects. The communication, as I mentioned, communication, behavioral learning, and the technology learning. The technology, as I mentioned earlier, depends on which project does these guys are aligned to. They'll be trained on those particular technologies. Now, once that is done, then they'll be put into their respective projects between 3 to 6 months of time, depending on which project that they are going to. Some people may get into the on-the-job training or internship within 3 months, and some people may get into 6 months, depending on which kind of a project or which kind of a line of business that they are getting into, project line of business that they are getting into. So once they go there, they are like anybody else. While they are learning on the job, they are juniors. They are like you and me or anybody else, where they are learning, they are understanding what to do with respect to customer. They'll be also part of some of these customer calls, or the customers all over the US, UK, rest of the world, Australia. So they may be talking to any of these people as part of their on-the-job training. So that on-the-job training is again, it's a good office schedule. Sometimes it is also intensive, because there are calls that these guys need to attend. There are during the US time zones, but it is a very challenging role that these guys will play during the learning period of 3 months to 6 months of on-the-job training, where they are just learning, shadowing, and understanding. Otherwise, they are treated equally like anybody else. Yes, during this period also, because they are still in the learning process, we do assess their capability during every periodic assessments. They will be understand, will be taking the feedback, understanding how the TechBees are performing. That process is continuous for 1 year. Till 1 year, after 1 year, they'll be converted completely as a full-time employee as HCL. Once they clear all the assessments, they'll be converted as a full-time employee after 1 year of training, full training, which includes CRT plus OJT. They'll be converted. Once they are converted, the aspiration, yes, they are converted. They are a software engineer at that time, and they are converted. So depending on the role, a developer, tester, automation tester, or engineer, anything, right? Many roles are there. Data engineer, many roles are there. So depending on the project that they are getting into, they can get into any of these roles. Post that, they have an opportunity not to just go and aspire to become a project lead or a project manager, but they have an opportunity to become a CEO as well. I don't think any other organization gives an opportunity to people at that junior level to become CEO other than HCL. And it's not that I'm just saying just for saying. We have experience in the past where some of our CEOs have been freshers. They joined HCL as fresher. They have become CEOs. So the opportunities are tremendous. Many opportunities are there. So it possibly is starting with you will be a software engineer, from a software engineer to a technical lead, and to a project manager, to a delivery head, program manager, or a delivery head, to becoming a vice president, president, and of course the CEO. Why not? The aspirations are many. So what we teach, right? What we teach, I think I always keep saying this Sanskrit shloka, Sanad. I know, this is one of my favorites as well, this Sanskrit shloka. What we teach is not how to go and grow in career. What we teach is the right manners. What we teach is the right character in as part of the program. While, this is not there. So the Sanskrit shloka goes like this. Vidya dadati vinayam, vinayadyati patratam, patratva dhanam apnoti, dhanat dharmam tatas sukham. So Vidya Dadati Vinayam. So once we give them the right knowledge, right education, they will attain the humility by themselves, right? That gives them humility. Vinayam means humility. Vinayatyadi Patritam. Meaning once they get the right humility, they'll get the right character. And Patratva Dhanamapnoti, of course, when you have the right attitude, right humility, and the character in place, money follows. So we don't teach people how to earn money, how to get this job. You teach them the right basics, and once that are done, automatically people become knowledgeable. They'll be getting opportunities to earn money. So many things are available for them to.
And actually, I've seen that firsthand. I mean, just to chime in here, I've seen that firsthand. With people who come into TechBee, the way they transform themselves in that 1 year, it's almost like after 1 year, it's not like you don't recognize that person, but you see that growth in them, or that change in them, where they're more professional in certain ways, more aware about a lot more things. Of course, with the kind of exposure you get, you will be more aware. So just with that, let's jump into the kind of projects that people work on. You did briefly mention the kind of opportunities and projects you can work on. Let's also discuss maybe the kind of exposure you get with that. For TechBees in particular, because I've heard a lot of stories from TechBees. I've interacted with a few, and they tell me that they work with global healthcare players. They work with automotive brands. They work with aviation clients. So please do share with us, the kind of exposure that one can get on the client front.
All right. So the opportunities that they get are equal to anybody else, like what we have with any lateral entry that we take, any experienced people that we take. It is equal opportunity for these people as well. So the opportunities, just to let everybody know what are the opportunities. They can be working with one of the most, the number one of the Fortune 50 telecom players. They also may have opportunity to work with one of the Fortune 10, the top 10 ERP organizations, where they'll be working in developing or coding or configuring some of those applications, right? The ERP application part, they can work. They possibly may be working on those telecom, global telecom, or a media and entertainment industry, or an online player. Online player. I mean, when I say online player, I include all these online portals. I mean, Google is online player for me. Facebook is online player for me, or any of these online players, right? Anything which is online, they may be working in providing the content or providing the solution for these online players, or working with the online players themselves, right? And that is the industry. Then the finance. The finance industry has boomed. I mean, in fact, the telecom and finance both have come together now. With the current revolution in the digital technologies, the banks have telecom institutions, telecom players have become, telecom service providers have become financial institutions. Like you see, payments banks, the Paytms, and everything coming up with digital solution without having the physical bank. Similarly, we have these TechBees will have opportunity to work in the digital solutions for any of these telecom players or any of these financial institutions or retail institutions, logistic players. So, for example, there are a lot of logistics players that are available where everything is digital. You transport something, I'm sure you would have seen, right? You order something from Amazon and you can track what happens behind the scenes in tracking. Is it like how does the entire package gets tracked when it moves from one place to the other place? There is a software behind it, there is a technology behind it. There's possibly RFID, there is a scanning that is happening wherever it reaches. That technologies that these guys tend to develop, with respect to logistics players. Then financial institutions, assume that you are working in any of the bank's portal. You look at a mobile application by any of your bank, right? Any bank, whether it is government bank or a private bank, you have a mobile app. So the kids may be working on mobile app development or maybe testing. Testing is even difficult job than development, because identifying bugs, identifying the issues within the application is a major thing. Or they may be working on maintaining the servers behind the scenes, managing the virtual servers that are needed. See, sometimes what happens is there may be peaks and lows. Suddenly, there may be a need to have more memory, more bandwidth for some of these apps when they are doing some sudden events that are getting published in a newspaper. For example, to talk about any event that happens, any major crisis that happens. What people do is they log into internet or they open the websites, the newspapers, and see what's happening. So the sudden traffic goes up. At that time, previously what they were doing, they were depending on physical infrastructure where the servers were placed, and you couldn't go and get the server just because the traffic has increased. So what they were doing is they were physically placing the servers, more servers than what needed. And if the traffic was really high, the server used to just die down. The example is when the results are announced, intermediate or plus two results are announced, MSET results are announced, the servers suddenly go down. These days, you don't see the servers going down. Why? Because they are scaling up in minutes of time. Within few hours, they know that the traffic is increasing. In sitting in front of computer, one of our tech Bs can go and configure the servers to make sure that there is no downtime to the end user. You suddenly see election result coming in. There is suddenly a lot of interest. So all this kind of a digital work happens, and that is also being done by our tech Bs. The tech Bs have great opportunity in all these areas: digital areas, infrastructure areas, engineering areas. I'm sure it's a great challenge that these guys will have. First 2 years is a great learning, and within 2 years, the amount of exposure that they'll get is enormous.
Certainly, certainly. So, with that, I just wanted to touch upon then, with the exposure that you told us a TechBee, scholar or a graduate has after they've completed the program. I wanted you to just then tell us what is the difference, I wonder, between someone who is right out of college doing a BTech or a BE versus someone who is, say, gone through, the rigors of 1 year of TechBee, both classroom and on the job.
Sure. So the TechBee thing, people who have, I mean, I know I touched upon briefly in my previous answer. Let me explain. So for people who are completing their regular traditional BTech degrees, traditional degrees, whether it is BTech or others, what they're learning is mostly theory. The application is very, very minimal in this. And apart from having some theoretical knowledge, when I see a lot of kids coming out of college and when we take these people as freshers, we see that we need to train them up front completely. And we have seen that there is already a certain maturity that they have reached where the learning becomes a little lower. Their ability to learn becomes a little lower. That's a major challenge that I've seen with people who are completing their regular traditional degrees and then wasting about 3, 4 years. And there are a lot of other activities that they are involved in. The minds are not fresh yet. So your focus is not there. That's what we have seen in folks who are completing the scholars who are completing their regular traditional engineering degree. With our TechBee program, it's pretty focused on what they need to learn. what is needed for your job to be done, what is needed to become a true professional. College does not teach you how to become a true professional. College teaches you some concepts which are not applicable in general world. You see a lot of people who completing their mechanical and coming and doing this software job. I mean, are we sure that they've learned something in mechanical, now coming and working in a software industry as a developer? Isn't it that their 4 years is wasted? Similarly, somebody who's completed their civil, a lot of people who have completed their civil and some guys who have completed their ECE, they are joining, coming and joining the software industry. What is that you have learned? Where are you applying? Are you applying it anywhere? No, no application at all. Here, right from day one of their journey in HCL, they will start to learn the technologies that they'll apply all through their life, not only within HCL, all through their life they'll be using, they'll be remembering that this is what is taught by HCL in my day 1, day 10, day 20, or day 100. They'll be continuously remembering this is what is taught, and they will be using it, applying it in their projects, on the job learning, as well as they'll continue to use it in their future as well, whether it is continued journey with HCL, whether it is the education that they'll be going through with BITS Pilani or Shastra University. They don't need to really struggle a lot because they've already learned all these concepts in HCL. They don't need to struggle a lot in completing the BITS Pilani degrees or the Shastra degrees because they already know. For others, you have to read a book which has about close to 1,000 pages, understand what needs to be done, where it's not getting into your brain, but you're just by hearting. A lot of things are by heart. That's the big difference, Sanat.
Of course, the actual hands-on work, I'm sure, takes you a long way. Yeah,
Yes.
certainly. So, thank you, Shiva. I think we've spoken at length now about TechBee, and I'm sure we've really helped a lot more viewers, understand all about the program. I see a few questions that have come up. I will take them one by one. We're left with a few minutes, and these are fairly simple questions. I think you'd be able to take them on, and of course, I'm here to help you in whatever little way I can. So, just starting out, Yashi asks us, is it a common aptitude test or common admission test? So yes, it is. And could you tell us about the career aptitude test that people have to go through for TechBee?
Yes, it is a aptitude test that these guys need to go through. Yes, it's after their direct completing their +2, and at the moment, most of the colleges, most of the universities have come back and said there is no second year for kids. They are very happy kids. For them, yes, they need to just complete the CAT, HCL CAT assessment. Once that is completed, once it is done, then they'll be entering into our HCL program after the brief interaction. But what is there in the CAT, HCL CAT is number one, we will test their basics in English, their English basics that we'll test. Then we will also test their aptitude and reasoning skills, some bit of aptitude and reasoning skills. These are the primary aspects that we will test as part of our HCL CAT assessment. So I'm sure it is fairly simple for those people who are preparing for JEE, those people who are preparing for all these assessments, HCL, MSET and all the MSET, the CETs that these guys prepare for. It's very fairly simple. But yes, we do test these things thoroughly to make sure that we get the right kind of people who have interest in doing this program and who have good learning ability. So these two are the major things that we test as part of our HCL CAT.
Sure. Thank you for giving us that insight as well. And I'm sure Yashi is going to get to preparing for that career aptitude test now. So we have another question, and I think this will have to be our last one because we're out of time now. So the question is, the question is, how do I apply for the program, and when does the session start? So I think you've of course touched upon how to apply it. So I'll just answer that for you if that's okay. So you go to www.hcltechbee.com. You can see the scroll probably at the bottom of the screen. You can register yourself, after which you'll have to complete an application form with basic details about yourself, your education. Post that you give the career aptitude test. You speak to our recruitment team on a interview discussion, and you then are ready to join TechBee once you clear those. For the starting of the sessions, Shiva, I would let you take that one, please. When the sessions would commence, and the batches for
Yeah.
TechBee would start.
So for the people who are taking the assessment now, the session will start in July, August. Sometime in July, August, we are starting the session. It does not happen regularly, but July, August, we will be starting the session, and there are limited opportunities for people to join. So please take up this opportunity, complete your CAT, HCL CAT as soon as possible. And I'm sure with the smart people, that smart kids that we have in this area, for sure it will be easy for them. But it will be starting in July, August. That the current batch will start in July, August, immediate batch.
Sure, sure. So thank you for answering that as well. Sorry, we have this one last minute question. I think this is a pertinent one. So can students from anywhere in India apply? Is the question?
Yes, they can apply anywhere in India. They can apply. We have opportunities all over. In fact, we have HCL has presence. I'm sure all of you are aware. HCL has global presence within India as well. We have presence all over. So anywhere in India, even if you are from any part of India, you're free to apply. We have opportunity for everybody, and the exposure that you will get, right? Whether you are from Northeast, whether you are from Deep South, or whether you're from West or East, it doesn't matter. Please do apply. Opportunity will be similar, and there are similar kind of a digital and technology opportunities for everybody.
Sure. Thank you again, Shiva, for taking that one up. And with that, I think we can conclude today's session. I would like to thank you again, Shiva, for joining us, taking out time on a Saturday evening. Uh, I sincerely appreciate everyone who's joined us today for this session, for taking out your time. Do keep following us for updates. We will be coming back with the next episode in a few days' time. So watch out for updates on that front. Thank you again. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sanath. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.